CEO and founder of Evolution Physical Therapy in Grafton, Tracy Lovvorn is a Republican challenging Congressman Jim McGovern for the 2nd Congressional District. She defeated Kevin Powers in the primary, so I asked Lovvorn what set her apart.
I think the biggest issue was our platforms. Kevin was running on a platform focused on energy, and he had a 15-year energy plan to make our country independent from energy. And I just don't think that resonated with the voters for the pressing issues that are happening today.
And so what do you think voters connected with you on?
One of the things I like to say is just getting around in District 2 and talking to people. They're not feeling like they're being heard. There's a lot of people that don't have a voice. You know, here in Massachusetts, we have 11 members of Congress, 2 senators, 9 representatives, and not one of them have a conservative background. We don't have a Republican in office. You know, right now in Congressional District 2, in 2016, 175,000 voters voted for change. They didn't all vote for Donald Trump. Some voted for Jill Stein. Some just left it blank. But 175,000 voters wanted something different.
And so for you, was that sort of a signal, like a flag went up for you? It's like, okay, maybe there is room for me to get into this race as a result of those numbers?
Most definitely. Not just the numbers, but actually talking to people, going into living rooms of people throughout the entire district, from Grafton all the way up to Orange and Athol, Belchertown, down to Millville, Northborough. It's a very large district, yeah, but when you hear people talk, especially during that primary season, there were a lot of people voicing a lot of concerns, and the primary thing was, we don't have a voice, we're not being heard, we're not being listened to.
And so for you, as you say, District 2 is a large district. It's also a diverse district. You have Worcester, which is very urban, but then you have smaller communities like Greenfield and others that are more rural.
Right.
For you, what's the biggest challenge facing the district?
The biggest challenge, I think, facing the district is the same challenge facing all of Massachusetts. It's similar challenges facing the entire country. I think one of the biggest things I hear out in Western Massachusetts is infrastructure. There have been approximately 50 bridges in Western Massachusetts that have been identified on a scale from A to F as D plus ratings. Some are being closed down, and they're not getting the attention they need. And this has been for years and years. A lot of these bridges were built in the 50s, 20s, even further back. And people are upset because they hear about bike lanes being created on bridges in Boston, yet we have bridges that are being, condemned and can't even be driven across.
But it's about stretching those dollars. So if you pivot and put more money into infrastructure spending, what loses out in your mind?
You know, there's programs out there that we haven't even tapped into. There's programs that for some reason we're not participating in. There's a checklist that our truckers are supposed to be pulling off into scales and whatnot, where the dollars have already been set aside by the federal government, yet we're not actively searching them out to get them delivered. In West Boylston, they have a sewer system that was built in the 1930s. That sewer system was part of an agreement when they put in the Wachusett Reservoir. That agreement was made way back then with the federal government that said, hey, we'll help you guys take care of it if you go and do this. They haven't held their end of the bargain, and there hasn't been anybody holding them accountable, holding the federal government accountable for what they've already promised. So I believe this is some low-lying fruit that we just need to go and get and advocate for.
Something else that you talked about on the campaign trail was your concern about rising student loan debt. And you also single out the Pell Grants program and the federal student loan program as a broken system. What's one thing that you would do to fix that?
Right away, I think we need to go out to our workforce. You know, my son right now, he's a computer science major. So encouraging even more companies, Apple, Google, Amazon, to come help identify these kids in high school. My son knew he was going into computers when he was 3 years old. If they can be identified in high school, work with those companies to help supplement the cost of college. At the end of the day, my son would have a job with them for 4 or 5 years to work off the loan, and it's a win-win, and it's a way that bypasses the federal government. However, the federal government could be there to help, incentivize the companies.
Speaking of big companies, something that you point out on your website is in looking at the healthcare issue, you point to big company CEOs Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, Jamie Dimon, and saying they have a unique approach to healthcare. Earlier this year, they said they were going to band together to look at a way to sort of help people save money around healthcare. What is it about their approach that you think is something that maybe the federal government could model or is of interest to you?
I think what's most interesting is they're at least getting together to try to solve a problem. And I think historically in the United States, that's where we're at our best, when you get our greatest minds together in a room to try to fix a problem. And when you talk about those gentlemen sitting around a table, finally talking about, okay, what can we do to help fix healthcare for our workers? I don't think they've come up with a model yet, but the fact that they're actually working on it, that to me is tremendously exciting, because that's how innovation has always worked in our country. It comes best when it comes from that private sector. They make that formula, and then we help replicate that formula across the country.
Agriculture, especially important to people out here, Franklin County, that area. Congressman McGovern, who is your opponent in the upcoming election, voted against the Farm Bill, and he called it out as, quote, out of touch and insulting to the most vulnerable in our country. Do you agree with that?
You know what? I don't. I don't agree with that. I actually grew up on a farm. That's one thing I have over Congressman McGovern. I know what farming is. I know what it's like to wake up at 3 in the morning. I know what it's like to sacrifice yourself for the betterment of another, which is your animals or your farm. Growing up on a farm, I have a unique perspective on what farmers need. And what farmers need is what they know what they need best. As far as the SNAP program, same thing. Growing up, there was a time where we were on public assistance. We had food stamps for a short amount of time. That was very short. It encouraged my dad to work harder and better, and we were only on them for about 6 months, less than a year. And I learned right then and there that help is so needed, and when it's needed, you appreciate it so much, but you appreciate it to use it as a help up, not a handout. You know, right now, the SNAP benefits are going down as there's increased jobs. I know Mr. McGovern speaks a lot about, well, yeah, we have increased jobs, but we need to increase the pay rate of those jobs. Right now, there's more jobs available than we have people to fill them, but the people we have to fill them don't have the skill set to try to fill those jobs. And there is a lot of high-tech, well-paying jobs available. That's where I think we could step in and help, again, bridge that gap between private industry, helping to develop programs to elevate those people into those higher-paying jobs. Again, SNAP is great if it's used as a short-term help and assistance, but it's almost like you get penalized. You get penalized for working a certain amount of hours, and all of a sudden you don't even qualify anymore. So you're actually incentivized to do less in order to get more, and that's a broken system that just can't work.